There's a huge difference between having time off and actually recovering from a school year. And I learned that difference the hard way. And when I say the hard way, I mean the hard way. And so today, what I want to do is I want to try to walk you through 4 things that every teacher needs to do over the summer break to come back in the fall to be healthy, to be energized and ready to go. And I want to tell you one mistake that I made for years, and it nearly cost me my life. And it almost cost me my career. The very first thing that teachers need to do is reconnect. And what I mean by that is finding a special place, a very specific place, a place that pulls you back to yourself over and over and over. And my wife and I, we've been going to the same resort for almost 20 years. I mean, the very same place, and it's every year. And I know what some of you are thinking is, well, don't you want to go somewhere else? And the truth is that we do go other places, but the truth is also not really, because that place isn't just a vacation spot for us. It's actually a memory bank, because that's the place where we watched our kids grow up. That is the place where we made memories, more than I can even count. That is the place that even though our kids are fully grown, they have their own lives, they have their own families, we go back there because now we can sit by the water and we can talk about all the times that our kids went down the slide, or the time that they were doing crazy stuff out on the lazy river. And my all-time favorite thing to talk about is the time that we were in our room. We thought our kids were playing in the room, but what they were actually doing is they were prank calling all the businesses around the resort, and they called us and told us that if they didn't stop, they were going to kick us out of the place. I mean, I got to be honest with you, I wasn't very proud of it at the time, but now that I'm a little bit older and I can look back on it, I think that's the funniest thing that ever happened, and it's the fondest memory that we have of our vacation times together. And that's exactly the point, because it reconnects us to the things that actually matter. And I think that every teacher needs a place just like that. Now, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be far away. It just has to be somewhere that reminds you that you're more than your job, and that you're more than just a teacher. And the second thing that every teacher needs is recreation. And I mean that completely in the literal sense of creation, creating yourself again through physical activity and enjoyment. And for me, that almost always means that I'm going to end up on the golf course. Now, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a great golfer. I'm just average at best. And that may be very generous on my part. But when I'm out on the course, something happens that it doesn't quite happen anywhere else. It's, my mind and my brain to begin to untangle and unlock, and complex problems that have been sitting in the back of my brain, they just seem to start working their way out. I'm not sure what that's all about, but there's just something special about physical movement in the open air that just seems to do that for me. And I bet it probably will do that for you too. But beyond the mental aspect, I'm 54 years old and my body needs to exercise. And I don't know about you, but I can't just sit around for, 2 weeks at a time and call that recovery. I got to move. But here's what I love most about it, is that the golf course has introduced me to some genuinely great people. You get paired up with these strangers, and somewhere around the 4th hole, you're not strangers anymore. You're turning into a friend, because you're having conversations. And that's recreation doing what it's supposed to do. It's not just activity. It's actually renewal through enjoyment. And if you're wondering how well you're recovering this summer from 10 months of chronic stress, then check out our teacher burnout checklist. It's free. It's 100% free, and it's always free. It's in the description, or you can get it there at the QR code on the screen. Either way, just go grab it, check yourself out. Third thing that every teacher needs to do is to reframe. And this is probably the most important one that nobody ever talks about, because here's the truth. All of us get stuck in our own heads. We all see things our own way. We think that we're right. We view everything through our lens of our own experience, of our own opinions, and of our own frustrations. And I'm going to go ahead and just say it right out loud. I'm 100% guilty of this. I just believe that in most cases that I'm right. But the fact of the matter is that our perspective needs to be challenged. Our blind spots need to be found. And vacation, or at least a real vacation, is one of the places and times to do that. And the best place that I know to start is by going directly to the source of wisdom and asking him for wisdom, because the scripture makes it plain. If any of you ask for wisdom, he gives it generously and without finding fault. And I love that last part, because he's not going to make you feel stupid because you came and asked for wisdom. And he's not going to remind you of all the times that he made his wisdom available to you, and yet you failed to implement his wisdom. He says, just ask. And the second way that I do this is through reading. During the summertime, I read extensively and excessively. And I don't mean it as a guilty pleasure or anything like that. I just mean that I'm actively looking for wisdom from people who have already figured out things that I have yet to figure out. And books have a way of showing you your blind spots in a way that a conversation sometimes can't. Summer is the time to let somebody else challenge your thinking. And the fourth thing that every teacher needs to be able to do is to relax. And I mean actually, genuinely unplug your brain and relax. And my wife and I, one of the ways that we do that is we spend a lot of time on the lazy river. We just float up and down. We get out, we sit in the hot tub, then we go back in the lazy river, or we sit on the side and we read. The point is that there's no agenda. There's no checklist. There's nowhere we have to be, and there's nobody that we're trying to impress. Now, I have to tell you the truth that my wife has an idea of relaxation that's very important to her, but is very different. And it's called shopping. And I got to tell you that this can be very painful, in particular to my billfold, but I'm not going to say much about that since my wife watches these videos and that may get me in trouble. But the truth of the matter is that after I've been there a day or two, I figure out I need some things too. And so I just kind of get involved in it. And I almost thought that maybe I should have made this a 5R framework and called one of the sections retail therapy. But again, since my wife watches these, I'm just going to keep quiet about that. But here's what I want you to understand about relaxation. Those moments, even the ones that cost you a little bit of money, they're worth it. Because for just a little while, all of the thoughts about school, all of the weight of education, and all the problems that have been living rent-free in our heads, they get quiet. And you get to focus on what actually matters. You get to focus on your health. You get to focus on your memories. You get to focus on the people that you love, and you get to focus on the God that you serve. Now, I want to tell you why all four of those things actually matter, because I know some of you are thinking, well, John, that all sounds great, but I got lesson plans to make, or I got a classroom that needs to be set up, or I have an email inbox that's overrun and I got to keep on top of this stuff or else I'm going to be behind. But before we get into all that, I want to tell you first about my 5-day summer reset. It is a comprehensive coaching package designed to help you completely reset this summer so that when you go back to school, you're able to walk into the classroom in the fall and you're ready to go. And it includes 2 personal video calls with me. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can check it out in the description box, or you can grab it at the QR code. Either way, I want you to go get it so that you can get back on track for the fall. Okay, so why are all 4 of these things so important? Well, number 1, the research suggests that it takes 6 weeks or more to decompress from 10 months of living in the fight or flight mode. Now, I want you to just let that sink in for just a minute. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. We go through 10 months of chronic stress, 10 months of high stakes decision making, 10 months of holding everything together for everybody else, and your body and brain takes at least 6 weeks just to begin to come down back to its baseline. Not so that you feel great, not so that you feel good, but just in order to decompress. And here's what I want you to know, and I want to be really clear, is that decompression doesn't just happen because you're off the clock. Sleeping in doesn't get the job done. Sitting around the house, that's no good at all. Binge watching your favorite TV show doesn't help. And I want you to know, I'm not saying that anything those are bad or that they're wrong, because I do all of them, but they're not the same thing as an intentional recovery, like intentionally reconnecting, reframing, recreation, and relaxation. That's done on purpose. That's what actually moves the needle on decompression back to feeling the way you should. And number 2, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I know we all try to. And I don't care how much we love our students. I don't care how dedicated we are to the job or how much we love it. Nothing's going to come out of a cup that doesn't have anything left in it, no matter how hard you try. And so the best thing that you and I can do is to give to our students and to our school the best version of ourselves possible. Not a depleted version, not a running on fumes version, not a halfway recovered version, but the best version possible. And here's what I've learned, and I learned it the hard way. That version of you, that's not created through constant sacrifice. It's created through constant renewal. I mean, I want you to think about, just for a second, about elite athletes. They don't train at full intensity every single day or around the year. Their coaches build in recovery days and recovery seasons on purpose, because without recovery, performance breaks down, the body breaks down, and the mind breaks down. And get this, teachers are absolutely no different. We have to have recovery days, yes, but recovery days alone are not enough. We have to have recovery seasons. And summer is your recovery season, but only if you actually use it in that way. Because summer vacation, that is not a luxury for teachers. It is a time period for maintenance. And number 3, and I told you I learned this the hard way, and I did. 4 years ago, I woke up and my face was completely paralyzed, and I thought I had a stroke. My wife thought I had a stroke. The kids at school thought I had a stroke. Now, thankfully, I didn't have a stroke, but my doctor told me, hey man, if you don't do something about your stress is going to do something about you, because he told me that I had been under chronic stress for years. Not one bad year, but years. Not a hard semester, but years of unresolved, undealt with, never decompressed stress that had been accumulating in my body without me even fully realizing it or even understand what was happening. And I want to be honest with you, because I wasn't taking my time off seriously. I wasn't taking my vacations seriously. I was doing what a lot of teachers do. I was just grinding through the school year. I was just grinding my way and coasting through summer. And then I went right back to school, was not recovered, and I started grinding again, year after year after year. And guess what? My body one day, it said, no, you're not anymore. And I don't say that for dramatic effect. I say it because it's the truth, and because I think that some of you need to hear that. It almost cost me my career. It almost cost me my life. And that is why my 5-day teacher reset is so important, because it was built and created out of my own personal experiences for teachers just like you. And here's what I want you to understand. You can be fully committed to teaching and you can still protect yourself. In fact, I would argue that protecting yourself as a teacher and taking care of your health is one of the most committed things that you can possibly do. Because what that means is that you're planning to be a teacher for the long haul and not just for the next couple of years. I mean, I think of Proverbs chapter 4, verse number 23, which is the core verse here at Teacher Talk. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So your teaching, your relationships, your creativity, your patience with the one kid who knows exactly how to push your buttons, every single one of them, all of that flows from your heart, your ability to sustain that. And if you don't guard your heart, if you don't protect your heart intentionally, it's going to run dry. And when it runs dry, you're going to run dry with it. So summer is your chance to guard your heart, to refill what 10 months worth of teaching has emptied out, to come back in August as the teacher your students need and the person that you actually want to be. So here's my piece of advice. Don't waste it. Take advantage of it, because summer vacation is not a reward for surviving the school year. It is a recovery season, and a recovery is not optional if you plan to keep doing this job well. So as good as summer vacation is, the fact is that many teachers still will not fully recover. And that's because there's 5 stages to every summer break that every teacher goes through, but there's a missing stage that most teachers miss. And so if you'd like to learn more about that, check out this video right up here, and it's going to make everything clear for you. And so my name is John, your guide to surviving teacher burnout, and I want you to stay strong and keep teaching.